Okay, welcome. Hey, Esther, you won the first comment award. Well done. Hi, Talia.
Hi, how are you doing, Shmuel?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, good.
So exciting to have you here. We'll wait for a minute until the introductions. We'll wait for a minute for a few more people to come in. We have 29 people in. That's nice. Been looking forward. Everybody pipe up, say hello, tell us where you are. Just hi, Chava. Hi, Rivka. How you doing? Everyone, let us know where you are, just so everybody knows where we all are all over the world. Hi, Shiffy. Oh, my dad's in. Hi,
Private.
Dad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm assuming Mum's next to you as well. Nice to have you on board. Hi, Al Kochav Yaakov. Okay, that's a nice place. Yerushalayim,
Brady, Khani.
Manchester, London. Okay, Brooklyn. Okay, we've covered the PS Hill. What's S Hill? Stamford Hill, probably.
Yeah.
Buffalo, New York. Okay, that's good. Baltimore. Okay. Ramat Beit Shemesh. Ones that had so many pics I wanted to submit. I just submit one though. I hope we got in. I think we got it. It's funny how people upload pictures literally like about 3 minutes before the webinar begins. So I tried my best even to get them in, but whatever, we'll see. Helen from Westchester and R from Edgware. Yushalayim, Antwerp. Okay, now we got a good portion of the globe covered. Okay, so welcome everybody. We've had a month off, so it's nice to see you all again. And we have a special guest co-host with us, who's a good friend of mine, who we've worked with each other for 15 years now.
Yeah.
Talia Kanter. So I'll just quickly tell you the story with Talia, how it began. Is you came in originally as an editor, yeah?
Right.
And you remember that Sarah, who was our lady photographer at the time, was it her someone was got ill?
Her father was ill.
He was very ill, yeah. And out of nowhere, Sarah just had to go to Canada, and we're like, well, I haven't got my female photographer, and we're like, okay, Talia, that's it. Strap your camera around your neck, and we're on. And like a trooper as you are, you just did it immediately.
I'll never forget the first wedding. You said to me, "This could be your big break."
And it was a little bit of a break because the wedding planner never got back to me after that. But anyway,
right.
Well,
yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
I can't hear Talia. You went quiet.
Yeah, right. You can hear me?
Yeah. There you go. So anyway, then from then on, Talia became our part of the crew as a photographer and editor, and that was 16 years ago. And from then on, tell us your journey a little bit, Talia. What happened after that?
So 15 years ago, we started with the editing, and then probably.
What did you do? What was you had a little bit of experience in photography before that, no?
I did a photography course, and I was doing a few small family shoots on the side, but nothing major. But it was basically a full-time job doing the editing and albums for you. And then when Sarah left, it was a very, very full-time job doing editings and albums and photography. And then you brought in a few other people to help with the editing because it was too much for me to do everything. Mm-hmm. And then years of weddings was a lot of fun. How
many years did we shoot weddings for together?
Well, my twins are just turned 9. So that makes it 5 years weddings.
Okay, yeah. So we probably shot a good few hundred weddings together.
Yeah, and we were very busy then. It was like 3 a week.
Mamash, yeah.
And then once my twins were born, it was too difficult to continue with the weddings. It was hard work. I couldn't see any my kids for 24 hours. It was too much. So I cut down to 1 a week.
Yeah.
I cut down to 1 a week, and then I started getting up my studio business, and I tried more newborn photography.
And you got into newborn. The way you really got into newborn was with your twins, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it with them. And then I called up the Telstone in the Beit Hachama in Telstone, and asked if I could go there to do the photography.
We'll get into this when we talk about that. We'll get into this thing because this is great for everyone to hear. We'll. I don't know. Everybody should have had the schedule. I think at 2:45 New York time, in 45 minutes or so, we'll talk about what you did business wise to get your healthy newborn business off the ground, which you did in style. But otherwise, let's just jump in now with a couple of. Let's jump into a couple of transformation things. 1 second. Let me just share my screen. I think I'll move this over here. And there we go. So just a couple of these transformations. Talia, you with me?
Yes.
Okay. So I should have got more. I didn't think about it until just recently. So, but I wanted to show this lady here, Javi Pollack. She's only done 3 classes with us, but I just thought I'd show you the transformation in just 3 classes. This was in class 1. Okay, so a Rebel T6. So it's a great beginning. You can see she's already got she's got an eye, and she's got she's sensitive to composition and stuff. And that was class 2. And now that was also class 2, and now this was class 3.
Wow.
In 3 classes. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's amazing in 3 classes.
Yeah, 3 classes. Unbelievable. So I just thought thank you so much. I'm really enjoying the course. I feel like I get better every photo shoot. I appreciate all the effort you helped me to succeed. I just thought it was really great. And now we have another student, Chaya Rabinowitz, and this is really special. This is a 6 lesson transformation. But she already has a 6D Mark II, and she already began in a good place. And you can see this is good. She was shooting manual even at the beginning. Okay, and the stats look pretty good to me as well. But it wasn't tight, and there was it wasn't tight. It's not tight. So look what happened. That was the first class. This was the second class. Okay, and you can see she's not clear on how light works as well. This is also the second class, and now into the third class. She's now really trying her luck at Lightroom, and really successfully as well. I think that's great. And now she's really developed. This is class 4. You can see she's really developed a sensitivity to the light and to posing as well. And now this was I think this was class 6, the last one that she just did. Look at the stats, perfect stats. She's shooting manual, obviously. Stats are absolutely perfect. Look at these pictures. And now this was, and she's, obviously also she's mastering Lightroom as well. And then look at this final one. Isn't that absolutely stunning?
Stunning! Wow.
Absolutely stunning. In six classes. Beautiful light, beautifully edited, beautiful depth, such vibrant colors with all the splashes of the reds and the yellows, just so and perfectly balanced as well, and such an engaging look, So anyway, I just thought that she wrote a really, really special thing for us, which I really appreciated. I thought I'd read this to everybody. Thank you for such a great course. I really feel that you teach the core principles, yet you don't impose a specific style of photography on your students. I really, really appreciate that. It really gives me confidence to experiment with the camera. Thanks. I'm looking forward to your critique. And I really do. I do try my hardest, because it's very easy to say do this, do that. But I do, when I see when I see somebody with a vision that's very different to mine, I do try and help them go with that. Okay, so let's jump in. I haven't looked at these pictures yet, so we are just gonna see what happens. Okay, everybody's on board?
Yeah.
Okay, so Talia, I value your opinion as much as I value my opinion, so please feel free to give your 2 cents. So this is from Julia Austin. You've zoomed out all the way. You're using a Fujifilm Fine Pix. I'm not sure what that is. If it's a compact camera or whatever. I think
it's like a Rebel.
Oh yeah, it's like a Rebel. Yeah, so dear.
I think so. Yeah.
So you've come in close and you've zoomed out to 5mm, which is obviously not what that is, because I don't know what that. Either way, but you're very zoomed out, which means you've got a very kind of move. There's a lot of energy in the picture, but I think the edit could be a little more punchy. that you think, Talia, to go with that kind of like powerful perspective could do with a little bit more punch in the edit?
I'd just like his chin down a little bit.
Yeah. These lines here add a lot of energy. We know that triangles are dynamic shapes. That works well. And good balance. You've got energy moving this way. That's a good balance. So well done. Okay. Henny, hi. This is nice. Stats. Let's just throw this one out there. What do we think, ladies and gentlemen? 1 second. I'm putting out a poll here. Talia, did you see that poll pop up?
No.
Oh, so go. I think on the chat. I'm not sure you'll see it somewhere. So look at the stats. I'll just read the stats out. Okay. It's a 11250, a 1,250th of a second at f1.8 at 100 ISO. And I just want to hear if people think those stats are good, bad, or perfect.
Yeah, I found the polls here.
Yeah. Good, bad, or perfect. A 1,250th of a second at f1.8 at 100 ISO. Good, bad, or perfect. It's halfway between. Most people go, oh, okay, perfect is edging forward. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to end here. Okay, so 61% said perfect. Yeah, I would say these stats are absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. In regards to the actual image, this area, this thing over here is very distracting. It would add a lot if that wasn't there. We've got nice energy moving over here, a lot of energy. It's beautifully balanced, and this framing in the foreground gives us a lot of depth.
It's a bit cold.
Yeah, it could be warmed up. Absolutely, I agree with you. It could be warmed up. But what I do think it's lacking is because it's such a profile picture, it's not, the subject isn't particularly engaging. You do see his eye. You see his eye. And he's got a very kind of there's a depth to his expression, which I think catches you, and the light is nice as well. So I think I was actually, now I'm looking at it deeper, I think there is a little bit more subject-wise to keep us interested. But the balance is very nice. Technically, it's very nice. So well done.
What about the big black area in the middle?
That is a little bit dark.
Me.
A little bit dark. Yeah,
that bothers me more than the house you said it on the right-hand side. Yeah. That doesn't bother me so much. The black area in the middle bothers me more.
I hear that. Okay. Does that look like the Koisel?
Yeah.
Does it? Or on the women's side?
Doesn't there's some notes there.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
Could be the bit. There's like a bit on the side of the women's side.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, well, Rebel T1I. Wow, that's old school. Okay. You've nailed the focus beautifully. It's okay. I can see that it looks a little bit like posy. Like she doesn't look like you didn't. It looks like you told her to go and kiss the wall. I think it would be nice if you'd gotten closer to the wall. Then there would be a little bit more depth and perspective, and it would just make it a little bit more interesting. As is, it's nice. It's just it's not striking. It doesn't like go wow to me. Okay, that's great. Who's this? Perry Sternlicht. Talia, what do you think of this? This is your domain.
Beautiful. It could be a tiny bit brighter.
Mm-hmm.
And the face is like slightly off center. It's not in the third. And it's
it should definitely be cropped. I think
just cropped slightly. But it's posed absolutely beautifully. Props gorgeous. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, decent light as well.
Yeah,
maybe that could be brightened up a teeny weeny little bit.
I think if the whole thing's brightened a bit, then that won't be so dark.
Yeah, I hear you. What do you think about the speckles? You think that adds or subtracts?
It's the texture in the background.
Yeah, I'm saying, do you think it'd be better if it was just clean?
No, not necessarily. No, it's a nice touch.
Cute, but very, very nice pose. Okay. 17 Mark II, Miriam Rosen. Okay. This is not, I like the edit. The edit's kind of gritty. I quite like that. You've added some like I don't know if it's grain that you've added to it or clarity, but there's like a grittiness to it that I think works. It's nicely balanced. It's a nice a nice expression from the little boy over here. It's always nice when you've got like a kissy picture or something like this, that you've got one of the subjects really looking into the camera and the other one like kissing or doing something like that. It helps the viewer keep their attention. But otherwise, we don't get the stats here. I think the edit's quite nice. It's a nice
how would that be as a portrait if you crop that as a portrait? Because that burn bit on the left is a bit.
That's quite nice. I quite like this. I like the yellows over here. I prefer it as we could crop a little bit off the top. I think maybe. What you have a problem with this area here?
Yeah, that bothers me.
Burned out. Yeah. I'd probably crop like that. I like keeping this greenery in the background. I think that texture and greenery adds a nice little bit of energy. Okay, this is cute. So you shot 2.2, which means we have this girl quite blurry in the background. It looks to me like you focused on this girl when you really should have focused on this girl. With a D5600, which has a crop frame, if you focus, as we know, the crop frame cameras have a longer depth of field than the full frame cameras. So if you had focused on her at 2.2, you would probably have a decent focus on these girls as well. Otherwise, background's great, nothing distracting. We've got lovely energy moving in this way from all these girls, which we've got just the perfect amount of room over here, cropped in beautifully over here. This is a really well balanced image. I think maybe it could be warmed up a little bit, and maybe I think also you could maybe soften it, drop the texture down a little bit, give it a little bit more of a dreamy feel. But otherwise, well done. Okay, whose this? S. Halpen. Okay, so coloring is off badly. Very yellow. Definitely need to reduce some of the yellows. There's not a problem with an overly yellow, like the grass being overly yellow. That really doesn't bother anyone generally. But skin tones, it's always about the skin tones. You can get away with, don't you find that, Talia? You can get away with like any colors anywhere. But skin tones, you can't get away with it. It has to be accurate. You find that?
Yeah. It doesn't matter about the color of other things, but the skin.
Yeah, exactly. So like when we're out and about shooting at nighttime, like in the old city, using flash, we constantly leave our white balance on sun. So the background is all getting very, very warm. But it just doesn't matter because light color can be all different kinds of colors, so it really doesn't matter. Whereas as long as the coloring on the face is correct, that's what it's about. So here we really need to drop down the yellows. The way we can actually do this, we could actually look at this quickly in Lightroom. They've brought out, it's not that new anymore, to be honest, but it's a good tool. I'll show you quickly how to do this. It's about two or 3 months old. But the way we can get rid of this yellow, if we drop down the yellow overall, if we drop down, so there's the way of doing it where we could just go to the HSL, which is hue, saturation, luminance, which is all to do with colors. So there's a good tip here is if we go to saturation, we click on this little guy over here. Now, you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the color where I want to get rid of, which is going to be over here. And now I'm going to click my left mouse button. I'm going to move my mouse down, and you'll see on the right side that it's now removing orange and yellow. But it's not really, it's not, I knew it wouldn't do that because it's removing the actual color of the skin as well, which is not what we want. So I think maybe if we go back to basic after this and bring up the saturation, we might get
that's better.
Decent color, and I think that's not so bad, is it?
Right, that's better. Before you just did that, it was very grey, the skin.
Exactly. So that we went from here, it's just a slight change. but you can see that really pushed it further. I'd also probably bring out my clarity tool and bring out the features, and that would also make a difference. But very important to make sure the skin tones are as accurate as we can possibly get them. Okay, who's this? Ruchi. Okay, this is cute. This part at the bottom definitely has no place in our picture, and they're very small. It's a cute moment. It's definitely a cute moment.
Could look good as a square, this picture, no?
Sorry?
I think this picture could look good as a square.
You think so? Put it on Instagram. I'm so not a fan of square pictures, but I hear you. I hear. It's kind
Sometimes
of
it just lends itself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The light on their face is nice. Definitely be improved if he was looking at us.
Somebody's asking why so much room on the top.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to ask Ruchi that, but the truth is, I think this is the textures and the colors here are very beautiful.
Brock is saying to fill in the part with no trees.
Could even crop in something like that as a kind of as a novelty picture. No. Sorry,
Brock, I don't think there's much trees to fill in. I think there's only that tiny patch.
Okay. 2.5, 400. Let's ask everybody what they think of these stats. 1 second. Stop.
I love this location. I know where this
okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have this picture is shot by Nechama Klein. It's a 1/400th of a second at 2.5, 400 ISO. Okay, she's using a full frame camera with an 85mm lens. Talia, don't say what you think right now.
All right, but let me just tell Miri, this is taken behind the YMCA building from George Washington. You can get in.
Yeah, well, George Washington 70 is a great location. She's definitely added she's taken away a lot of clarity from this as well. You can see she's edited this quite heavily in Lightroom. We can see a little bit rough around the edges there. I mean, no one would look at this except for like me, but so we've got I'm going to end the poll. 3, 2, 1. We have 54% saying
not in New Jersey, it's in Jerusalem. People are asking about what the location. It's in Jerusalem, central Jerusalem.
Yeah, near the King David Hotel. So go on, Talia, what are your thoughts on this picture?
I love it. It always bothers me at the end of this tunnel, that patch with the white and green. I mean, I know it's like that. That's how it is there. But
I always shoot the other way when I'm here.
Oh, you always shoot the other direction. So it depends, because recently, every time I go, there's like queues of people to use it. So there's like 2 people shooting at the same time, back to back, one in each direction.
Oh wow!
Recently, it's been very popular.
Oh, it must be because Yamin Moshe has basically become a no-go area. Yeah.
I don't know. I was there today. There wasn't so many people there, but
walking through the village, or
yeah. I didn't go to the far right side where they're digging it up.
I don't go to the village anymore because people shout at us all the time. I hate it.
I think she died during Corona, that woman.
Oh, there's a lot of people though. I find it's horrible. Anyway,
nobody was there today. Nobody was shouting.
Okay, that's nice to know. But anyway, my issue with this picture here is the pose of the 2 kids. There's no relationship there's just like 2 kids sitting on a bench. They look very cute and the light's beautiful and technically everything's very nice. But everything that I'm about when I'm taking family pictures is always trying to demonstrate and express relationships. So just to have one hat, just his hat over her shoulder would make all the difference. Or is that a boy? No, it's a girl, yeah? I'm not sure if that's a boy or girl.
It's a girl. It's a girl.
It's a girl? I thought it was because of the thing. Is it just earrings? There's no earrings. Either way, to have this little boy put his hand around this child over here, I think would change everything. As it is, the fact that there's no kind of relationship being described, I feel that is lacking a little bit. The stats, in my opinion, are absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Remember, on cameras like the 5D Mark III and all these really good all these good professional cameras and all the modern day cameras, I would say that the difference between 100, 200, and 400 ISO is absolutely irrelevant. Like, you literally cannot see the difference between 400 and 100 ISO. Even 800 ISO, in my opinion, is completely is absolutely. I don't even start thinking about ISO on my cameras until I'm like 1250 or something like that. So to be at 400 ISO and to give yourself a 400th of a second is a much better idea than being at 200 ISO and giving yourself a 200th of a second, because the image degradation, if that's a word, is that a word? Degradation? That's not a word, is it? They said different.
No, I don't think so.
I just made that word up. Okay, we'll go with that word anyway. That the way the image degrades from 200 to 400 is imperceivable, whereas from a 400th of a second to a 200th of a second, there's a very good chance of getting some kind of camera shake, which is not a good idea. So it's not really worth it. So otherwise, nice. I love got lovely, lovely symmetrical image. And the truth is, you've actually left a little bit more space here. We've got a little bit of energy moving that direction, so I think it balances well. Okay, well done.
Well, there's a question here. Has anyone done the 0 to Pro Masterclass with a 1300D Canon camera? Did the course work for you? Yes, it will. We've had a lot of students take that. Take the class. That camera is completely fine. We recommend getting the 50mm 1.8 lens. But yeah, it's absolutely a great camera to start with, and you should join. I should put that up, shouldn't I? I'm going to put up an offer right now. As usual, we have our 50% off for 24 hours with our 110% guarantee that we've never been called on, proudly enough, that I will happily pay if somebody does ask. But anyway, so what's the direction of a face? Everyone, let me throw that out to everyone out here. What is the direction when we're looking at a face? Which way does our eye move? It takes to tell you there's like a little bit of a delay the way the program works, so it takes a couple of moments for people to look down. Thank you, Heather. Yeah, that's the answer. The answer is down. So what's the issue with this picture? The issue is that we have too much space over here, and this picture is bottom heavy because of the downward direction of a face. So to fix that, all we need to do is just trim off a little bit of room from the top, and we are going to end up with a much more balanced image. Makes all the difference. Okay. Otherwise, lovely expression, nice and sharp, good stats. Well done. Lovely depth created through this frame in the foreground. Excellent. Well done. That's great. That's a wonderful picture. Oh, this is Ayala, who's happy. Her family name is Shooter, which works really well for her photography business. That's excellent. That's a great shot. There's loads of energy here. Strong triangle. We know that triangles are energized pictures with these kind of moody expressions. Lovely energy moving this way. Lovely energy moving this way. This head, the two heads create this lovely, lovely triangle as well. Nothing distracting in the background. We've got the line of the background also corresponding with a natural line in the subjects, which is always leads for a nice feeling. Otherwise, really well done. A nice edit as well. You've added some clarity, and it's got a real kind of like gritty, heavy feel, which I think goes really well with it. Stats, 60 Mark II. Again, I would probably be at 500 ISO at 400th of a second. Talia, what would you be shooting at? I didn't hear what you were saying because I was writing on the chat, but I would say I would be shooting at, say, 2.2, 2.8.
Yeah. Although she did get away with it.
What did she shoot?
She shot at f2. She did get away with it. You're right. It'd probably be better to be at 2.2, 2.5, 2.8.
Just because you never know if they're quite, like, it looks like the girl on the right is a bit closer to the camera than the girl on the left.
She did. That's fine. But I wouldn't be at 200th of a second. I would be at 500 ISO instead of 250 and at 400th of a second. I don't like 200th of a second. I try and always get to at least 400 if I can. Okay. This is a nice shot. This is well done. Unfortunately, the coloring is off, but the composition is beautiful. The depth is beautiful. Just a little bit too warm. You can fix that up. But otherwise, really well done. Beautiful. Fam.
Right, Shmuel, your time is basically up.
We're up. Okay, let's just look at this one. This is taken with some kind of telephone. Oh, my computer's doing something funny. I hope it doesn't crash. So we would, so right now you're using a very wide angle, and it's basically just, this is a snap with the telephone. This is not the kind of picture that we'd be wanting to take with a real camera. If you crop in like this, it still gives you that feeling of like a kind of humorous kind of feeling. Whereas if you were to go back and zoom in, if you had a more professional camera, it would be a much more sophisticated picture. But the expressions are beautiful, so well done. We'll look at a couple more pictures. This is Shane Delicious. That's excellent. That's great, Shane D.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, pin sharp. Fantastic. You could say that her eyes were a little bit awkward eyes. If she had turned her face a teeny little bit more, it might look a little bit more comfortable. But the edit is really special. And I think in this picture, generally to have blacks like max out is not a good idea. But I think in this case, it actually works quite well. We've got strong energy moving in this direction, but the eyes are bringing us back here. And then we've got this really lovely, intense texture of the hair. So all in all, I think that works really, really well.
Shmuel, there's a question here. Jolie said that I've signed up for the flash photography, but I think I should have signed up for the masterclass first, right? Yikes.
Yes, if you didn't do, that's if you can't really do our flash course without doing our masterclass. Everyone can give a shout out on that, because the way we build the knowledge in your mind in the masterclass is we create what's called the exposure triangle, okay? And we get this very, very clear in your mind. When you go into flash, it turns into an exposure square. So even though a lot of people have learned photography, they never got the triangle clear. So when you go into the flash class, it's like bang, and all the springs like fly out and stuff like that. So yeah, probably a good idea to be in touch with Rivka, and she can move your membership. She can flick you over into the masterclass. But yeah, you can't really do the flash mastery without the masterclass. Okay, let's do a couple more.
Someone just mentioned they'd like to see the hair with more clarity in that last picture. Yeah,
this one. I hear that. Yeah. Okay, Talia, what do you think of this?
Could do with some improvements.
Yeah, the lighting is a little bit obvious. Yeah, it's not very sophisticated. It looks like it's flash on camera.
Yeah, it's very flat.
Isn't, yeah.
The shape of the baby is also like not so conducive. It's like a bit too the flat, like the head's a bit too turned into the pillow here, and the hand should be brought up a bit higher and a bit flatter and a bit more forward, and the knee should be brought up a bit. Yeah, there's some work could be done on this one.
But apart from that, it's fantastic.
It's a good beginning. It's a good beginning, newborn. To get a baby sleeping and manage to take a picture is a good start for.
And one thing that I will give you a good heads up on, Sil, is that the face is at an angle. A lot of people, I get like very beginner newborn photography, and loads of people the face is like that. Yeah, if you understand, like completely at the side, and it's very, very uncomfortable for the viewer to look at. If you look at newborn photography, you'll see you probably just do this naturally, Talia, but the head is always at some kind of angle, and that's usually the first mistake that brand new newborn photographers make, is not putting the head at an angle. But one thing that is good is the stats are very nice. It looks like you're using natural light. It looks like it.
If it's natural light, then how's the background so white?
That could have been done with Photoshop or something. But look, what 800 ISO at 1.8? That wouldn't be flash. That wouldn't be a regular flash, I don't think. Okay. Anyway, This is Hani S. It's great. This is a nice snap. There's a lot there. This could be turned into a really powerful black and white picture. It is really quickly. We won't do that. We're going to move on in a second. But good angle, lots of nice energy. That's well done. Okay. Careful this splodge of light over here. Okay. The actual picture is quite cute, but also find a nicer texture, nicer. This path is just very kind of bland. Remember, whenever you have bland and ugly graphics in your picture, it makes your picture bland and ugly. That's just how it goes. So if you'd gotten down a little bit lower, it would minimize this. But I personally would be trying to think about putting him on the grass or some area which isn't so bland and ugly. Okay.
Well, there's a question here about what is the AMP course?
Oh, AMP. Okay. You can be in touch. The AMP is it stands for the Accelerated Mentorship Program. It's really an invitation-only course where if you nail it in the masterclass, that a lot of our students do, then we invite you personally to the AMP. We basically build your business for you. We build your business. We take you further in natural light photography. It's including the flash course as well. It's a mentorship, a private mentorship course.
Is the newborn course in there? Because that's what they were talking about.
Yes, we're going to speak about that in a minute, Talia. But let's keep let's keep going here. We'll talk about your newborn course in a minute. Okay, so we're going to just spend now a few minutes. Last time, I don't know if people remember. Last time we went through this shoot, the Lifshitz family shoot, and we got to literally halfway. So I think I wanted to zip through the rest of the pictures. They're the raw pictures, although they're not raw. They're just the unedited JPEGs. But we'd gotten through all like the bread and butter pictures until this is the kids' pictures. So this really is still like bread and butter. Go on, Talia. What of your family shoot? What would you say you failed if you didn't? What's the basic pictures that you need to get before you feel like you've actually done your job?
If it's a regular family shoot, not for a specific occasion?
Regular family shoot with 4 kids and 2 parents.
Okay, the whole family together.
Yeah.
Just the kids.
Yeah.
Just the parents.
Yeah.
Each kid alone.
Yeah.
The boys, the girls.
That's already not bread and butter.
That's already not. That's
what we say. The individual kids, mum and dad, the whole family, and just the kids. Until you've done that, you are not out of the forest. That's in my opinion. That's the benchmark. Until you've done that, you haven't done your job. So anyway, so at this point, now,
there's one more question here. So Yechaved would like to know if the masterclass is for me. My pictures look really great, but I would love to take it up a notch.
Probably, I'm sure it would be. The truth is, everybody else can. We've got a lot of students here who can give you their 2 cents on that. But the masterclass takes people literally from 0 to pro, but it also takes people from pro to further as well, because the course itself creates a clarity that you can imagine, number one, and then from the critiquing that I give the critiquing according to the level. So I've got a lot of experience with real professional photographers as well, and as I see the level of the photographer is at a higher level, then I'll critique at a higher level. So even the actual course itself is good for everyone, but then on top of that, the critiquing gets adjusted to exactly your level. So plus, you've got your money back guarantee. So if you don't like it and you feel that you're not gaining from it, just let us know and we'll give you your money back. So you've got nothing to lose. Okay.
Shmuel, there's a bit of a discussion here on the chat about what to do first. Family, and everybody's saying, yes, I do the family shoots first. Like the whole family. I usually try and do the whole family first. Unless I can see there's one kid that's like totally not going to cooperate, then I'll do the kids that I can see will definitely cooperate before. But usually I always try and do the whole family first. You agree?
I don't know. I do the kids singularly. I'll tell you the reason why is because I build up a rapport. I try and go with the youngest kid first, and then I try and show them that I'm a really nice guy, and touch them, and I get them to like me. And then after the kids, then I do the parents by themselves, and then the whole family. And by that time, I find that I've got like a kind of credibility with the kids, and I find it easy as opposed to just, okay, let's just do it all the way. Do you understand?
So, yes, but I find that if you do the whole family first, then anybody who would be a bit nervous to be in front of the camera, they feel more secure that they're with the rest of their family. They're not being put in the spotlight. They're with the whole family. So that first picture, everybody's together. We're all in this together. Nobody's being singled out. And then I find everybody's comfortable to continue.
I hear that, but I still feel like when you're one-on-one with a child, and you can break that ice anyway. I never have a problem with that. So I'm not going to change what I do. I feel that I still like I like that way of just creating an immediate relationship with each of the people. And then, and you can do it very easily by just a couple of quick comments and a wink here and a little comment about how pretty you are or how handsome you are or what a nice tie you've got or whatever. And then they're a bit more like in your control. But anyway, so these pictures here now are the pictures of just the kids. Okay, so you can see the light is in a gorgeous place. Got a lovely backlight here. We're shooting at we've got a lot of flash, so we've got a beautiful crisp, clean light. This is the kind of photography that there we go. We've got everyone looking as well now. This is in my opinion, this is kind of rare family photography. Don't you agree, Talia? The pictures that you always see is always a very, very blurry background with a very kind of like magical kind of like soft feel. This is a much more kind of like like tangy kind of like lively kind of feel. Do you know what I mean? When you've got a strong flash and you've got lovely, strong, clean. It just feels it's got a kind of an originality to it that a lot of the portrait pictures that you see don't have. These are pictures that I'm just taking now. I'm working with the children. I got him to move down, and I'll get them all in close. And you can see now I've dropped my flash down in power. Her hair is an issue. That is annoying, but it's still okay. I think that the faces get us through this. Shooting at 4.5. I'm obviously using flash because I'm at a 200th of a second, but shooting at 4.5, I'm just absolutely desperate to make sure that everybody's in focus. I've had too many. How many times have you gotten back to your computer, Talia, and you can see one of the kids out of focus, and you're like, oh man. It really
desperately searching for the other picture of the other kid in focus so you can just put it together. Nobody ever knows.
It's called becoming an aperture snob. It's very difficult to get over the idea of not using the widest aperture, but you really do need to get through that. You really do. To have the background a teeny bit blurrier at the expense of one of the kids not being sharp is not a good. That is not a good. How do you say cheshbon in English? Not a good.
Account.
Yeah, not a good evaluation account. Evaluation. Okay. Good. So we've got some nice videos. I come out a little bit, and now we're working with them squeezing. But very important, everyone. This is a really important point. When you get people smushing in and squeezing, it's very common that someone ends up getting covered, and the picture gets reduced greatly. So when you're saying squeeze, smush, 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 make sure you're very conscious of this, and you're like, okay, little guy, I can't see you, pop out, there you go, and then you can carry on going, and it makes a big difference to make sure that you can see all the faces. That happens all the time when you smush. Very important to be conscious of that. Okay, so here you can see we're just again squeezing. We've got a lot of nice pictures here. We're obviously going to crop in with some of these, but these are very lively, and these are great for the slideshow as well. But this is fine. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, and now because it was a bar mitzvah, now I've basically covered all of my bread and butter pictures. I've got all the family, I've got the individuals, I've got the mum with the boy and the dad with the boy and the family together, etc. Now it's time to now I can just do what I want. Okay, so I got mum and the boy to walk off. These are terrible. I think I kind of decided not to do this after a while, but this is a terrible mistake in that it's just a useless picture. To have shot this in RAW would have made a big difference, but I didn't do that. But anyway, once we came back over here, now we've got our kids. I decided to do to make use of the walls of the old city. Very important when you go somewhere that's got some kind of like relevance in the background, like a site that has relevance as opposed to just a pretty background. Make sure to cash in on it. So we've got flash in here, and now I get my exposure correctly. And now these are nice. We've got a lot of energy from the composition, and so obviously I posed the family accordingly to also go with the energy of the composition and the lighting. This little kid's kind of jumping all over the place, but we're trying what we can. Difficult, but that's okay. But the point is that when we've got an energized composition, we want to pose our subjects in an energized, sassy kind of pose. So
Shmuel, Yochevet's asking what lens you're using here.
This I'm using my 24-70 Canon. I have two lenses when I go on a portrait shoot, and I really only have two lenses anyway. I have the 85mm and the 24-70. So whenever you see any pictures with like a wide angle with kind of energy, that's always with the 24-70. Let's just keep going. So, okay, this is another picture that I take all the time. This is now with the 85mm. I developed this picture about a year and a half ago, and I basically take it all the time. It's a really nice way of framing the parents, using the kids in the foreground to take a picture of the parents in the background, and then you can also quickly flick over and get a picture of the kids, which I didn't in this case.
Shmuel, you're running out of time for this section. Chaya mentioned she wants to know how you got the sky so blue. So Brocha filled her in that it's the secret of the flash. But I don't know if you want to say anything else about
Brocha, thank you. It is, absolutely. Once you use flash, you can do amazing things with the sky. Let's just look at this quick picture. So now you could see, like, this is the point here, is the kids were running. If I'm going backwards now, you can see he's running out of steam. Okay, he's running out of patience. So what do I do when the kids are running out of patience? It's time for a race. Okay, whenever you say those magic words, race, kids are like, and they're back with you 100%. So I bang my ISO up to 640, which allows me to get to a 5,000th of a second. And now I'm like, okay, kids, run. What do I change my focusing system to? Ladies and gentlemen, go on, I'll shout you out over there. What do we change our focusing system to if we want to get a picture of everyone running towards us? Give it a second and people will start saying stuff. One moment. AI servo. Thank you. Okay, great. Yes, AI servo. That allows my focus to keep changing as they're running towards me. We learn about that in class 6 of the masterclass. But that means you can take these kinds of pictures. But very, very important, when you take these pictures, see, I didn't do so well here. That wasn't so good. That was not so good. Wow, that was rubbish. Very, very important when you're taking this picture. I lost him over here. Is to be saying to whoever's running, look at me, keep looking at me, make sure you look at me. Because the way when people run, they immediately look down, obviously, because you don't want to trip over. So you want to look at the floor in front of you. So your job as the photographer, when somebody's looking down at the floor, it's not a particularly engaging picture. So you need to make sure that you somehow make them lift their head up and look at the camera, which will usually not just be like, okay, look at the camera when you run. It will be a constant reminder as they're running towards you. Look at me, keep looking, look at the camera, look. As they're running, and then you've got a chance. I think we can see, look here. As he starts running, as a normal human being, he's looking down. And then I obviously start with my, look at me. And then we actually, although I missed the picture, at least we had him looking at me. Okay, where are we holding, Talia? What time did we say we're going to start your part?
Brocha just asked, how are you not in the sun, but getting messy light without using a flash?
How are you not in the sun?
I think she means dappled lighting.
Oh, he's running through the sun, and the sun's coming through. It's blocked, but the shadows are coming from trees, so he's coming through, and as he runs through, I'm trying to get pictures of him as he's in the shade. You can see at that point they're in the sun, so that's what's happening there. Okay, and then
Russell wants to know what your shutter speed is while you're using Flash in general.
200. I don't have high speed sync, so I'm always at 200. But this is an important point. These pictures here, we can see the light on their face is terrible. But when we're taking a picture like this, it really doesn't matter so much. It really doesn't matter when they're far away, and it's a lot to do with them walking towards you and the perspective and the depth created and the leading lines and all the textures and stuff. People aren't so much looking at themselves; they're more looking at the bigger picture. So you can get away with this kind of messy light. So I don't get all crazy about the light when I'm taking a picture like this.
Yeah, so you're 5 minutes over time.
Okay, let's just finish off here anymore. So I took another picture over here like this, again using Flash. And when we use Flash, you can see we can pull out beautiful colors from the background. Have to be careful of the darker areas, but these pictures really need minimal editing. They really do. That's one of the nice things about Flash. Okay, maybe we'll pick this up next time. Okay, Talia, you ready? Should we jump into your pictures?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we're moving into our next part. We basically brought in Talia. Talia Kanter has been, well, she hasn't been with us now for how many years?
7, 8.
7 or 8 years. Talia's been by herself, but she was with us for probably 7 or 8 years as an editor and as a photographer, as we mentioned at the beginning. What do you do? What's your main business now? How do you make your money?
I would say it's probably 60% newborn and the rest family, chalaka, upsherin, a few bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah portraits, and a couple of events. I'm not doing so many events at the moment, but this year with Corona, I did a few. What did you,
when you're with your newborn, you said 60%. Are you still doing your Beit HaChlama thing?
Until Corona, I was doing it, and then.
So wait, how do you say Beit HaChlama in English? Like a convalescent home or something?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you had a great idea, no? That I think. Did anybody?
I really wanted experience with newborns. People weren't doing it very much. It wasn't really the thing here yet in Israel, even though it was around the world. And I offered my neighbors free newborn pictures if they came to me with babies under 12 days, and a few came, but not everybody came. And then I called up and asked if the mother and baby home would let me come and do pictures there. And I started doing that. And it was the first few months was a bit rocky. And every time I went to change my pricing to see what worked for me, what worked for everybody else. But it hit it off the ground. I could charge very cheap prices and make it very worth it.
So you would go to the convalescent home, yeah? And you would have a studio set up somewhere?
I would schlep all my stuff there and I would set up the studio there.
Which means multiple backgrounds or one background?
So I had one background stand and I would change the background. I had a pile of different backgrounds, piles of wraps, piles of fur blankets, different props.
And people choose their things, or you kind of like suggest?
I had albums with all different ideas, and people looked through. Some people just looked at a picture and said, I want this one. And some people said, I want this one, but this color and this hat and this, and always getting new stuff, always updating it.
How many babies would you shoot a day on an average day?
So on average there, it was between 10 to 20.
Wow.
In the best, it was great. But the last year I was there, and the mother, their home themselves opened up a room for people to take their own pictures. They put up background, they put up props, and people were playing around there, and they didn't feel like they wanted to pay money for it. And it took away a lot of my work there. So when Corona came and they closed down, I was like, all right, forget it. Goodbye.
So now you have newborns. You have people come to your house for newborns.
Yeah, so they come to me, and sometimes I go to people. I'm going to somebody tomorrow. I send them all my pictures, everything, and I let them choose what they want, and then that's what I take with. There's a few things I don't take out.
Not edited? Not non-edited pictures?
No, edited pictures.
What do you mean you send them all the pictures?
I send them like a sample of each of my props and all the different things they could have. So they're like a catalogue, kind of like a catalogue, so they could choose what they want. And then I know what to bring with me. There's a few things I don't take out my house, like very fragile things. And then they tell me what they want, so I know what to take with, because my whole studio doesn't fit in my car.
Oh, I hear what you're saying. So what's the... We're about to we filmed a newborn course together a couple of years ago now that was always been part of the AMP course that we're, please God, going to be offering to everybody next month. We need to divide it up, and Talia's actually going to be included in the course, like how I critique the masterclass. Talia's going to be critiquing the pictures that come from that are done in the newborn course. What would be your, like, your ultimate advice, or the biggest, the most helpful thing you can say in regards to newborn photography, or few things? What would you say to people?
I would say when you're starting up to offer for free and just practice, and to wrap babies will just really helps get them settled. Practice, the wrapping needs a lot of practice as well, and a warm room also. It can be the end of a shoot just because the room is too cold. Can I just answer a question that somebody just asked me? Sure. Somebody asked, where's it gone, about photographing newborns outdoors. So you could do newborns outdoors, but it's not practical to take loads of different props with you outdoors. Maybe you could take one or two things. If it's, like you said, somebody else has said, if it's a family as well. If it's a family and you've got a newborn, then the newborn's you're not going to be doing so much of a newborn posing. So yeah, you could for sure do that outdoors, but really it depends on the weather. Also, if you're doing just a newborn outside, you can maybe do two poses, but it really depends on the weather. You don't want anything too hot. You don't want anything too cold. You're dealing with a very sensitive newborn baby. So you can't put the baby in direct sunlight for very long. Definitely not if it's strong. And you can't have a baby without very much clothes on if it's not really, really, really hot. So it does become very difficult.
It's just like logistically, it doesn't. But also, you can't really you don't have as much control as like in the studio. The thing about the newborn is it's really about the how you fix everything around it with all the different props and things like that. So how much do you think you've got to gain from shooting outdoors?
Well, like somebody said, if you want to do a family, if it's more important for them, the whole family idea with the newborn, then the mother's holding the baby most of the time. So you're posing the baby on the mother, then that's more practical. If it's with the family. If it's the baby by itself, then you could do one or two poses, but to do like a whole shoot outdoors, I think is very difficult.
Okay, let's jump in. Let me share the screen and let's jump into looking at some of your pictures. So Talia's just given us a handful of some of her favorite pictures. Have you got like one particular favorite out of all of these you want to look at first?
My favorite, is that one with the hand there, the bottom left.
This one? Yeah. Beautiful. Go on, what has gone? Talk about that. Why is that so good? It is.
Well, the lighting makes it extra special. I have the same picture with the flash more forward, and it's nice, but it's not incredible. And then I just moved the flash further to the left, and it just made this picture something out of this world. And this guy had really big, chubby arms, and the baby was so tiny that the difference in size is just makes it so much better than a lot of the other ones I've done like this.
Mm-hmm.
Behind me, you can see this is my baby with my husband's arms, but I like this one on the screen much better.
Mm-hmm. I think also we've got such a contrast. We've got such a such a separation between the background and the subject that you just there's nothing else to look at. So you don't even need to look at his arm as well. Your eyes are just completely fixed here, and it's very relaxed. And as you said, the light's beautiful. We've got this lovely short light. We've got this lovely shadow over here. Lovely depth of shadow over here as well. Perfect. Well, how much do you do in regards to, I can see you've softened the skin quite.
Yeah, it's usually just softening the skin. Sometimes fixing something in the background.
You're not a big Photoshopper, no. You try.
No,
and
because I prefer to do the least as possible with the Photoshop. I like to keep it as natural as I can, but some babies just have terrible skin and they need a lot of Photoshopping on the skin.
Did you say most babies have terrible skin?
No, I would say half. No, I don't. I would say, let me think. 80% of babies need some sort of touching up, and I would say 20 to 30% need like a lot.
You said 80% need some.
Yeah, but like could be just type.
There's such a thing as like a newborn.
Somebody's asking what type of things, like a few spots, a few scratches, a bit of dried skin.
What about, would you crop this in a little bit more? You like the
No, I like the space because she's so tiny, to keep the space to show how tiny she is.
Even more tiny. I prefer that crop, to be honest.
Okay.
Anyway, okay, let's go. So go on. We'll just go through these pictures quickly because I think they're very cute. Go on, Talia.
So, what do you want me to say about this one?
It's just cute.
This is my Danny, and this is my kisses on his face. And no, I lied. That's Yossi. Oh my goodness, I'm a terrible mother. No, I just looked on the wall to see.
I just call my children now 1, 2, 3.
There he is, Yossi on the wall. That's Yossi. Yeah, I saw this done. I saw it on Pinterest, and I thought it was a really cute idea. So I had him in this red onesie, and I was probably a week after birth, and he was sleeping. I put him in a basket, put a black thing over the basket and the background, and
I think it would be better. His head is
hairline
lost. Yeah, if we had like either a brighter background or a little rim like
Agreed.
That. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, that's also very special. This person's got something to do with basketball. It's just random.
Yeah. No, this guy loved basketball. His baby was particularly tiny. It was a preemie, so that's why he
bought the basketball.
No, I think it was mine. It's actually popped since, but this guy was a big basketball player.
Lovely energy moving in this direction. Really, really deep, profound picture.
I think it's the lighting that gives it that feel.
Yeah, hairy little baby.
I could have edited that.
Yeah,
I chose not to.
This is very like when I say standard, I don't mean standard. It's absolutely beautiful.
Classic.
Yeah, very classic. That's the right word, not standard. It's very classic. It's very sophisticated. The lighting is perfect. Oh, it's not pin sharp, no? What's sharp with that?
Oh, it could just be I sent you a resized one.
So anyway, this is like very classic.
I'm sorry I'm not getting to all the questions. I just saw there was a whole lot of questions on the last few pictures. I'm sorry. I didn't notice. They're
very classic, beautiful lighting. And the props go the wrap and the colors go with the background. Would you generally try and get a contrast between what they're wearing in the background, or you go with something similar? Because I see like this as well is similar.
So I either contrast or the same. Like I like this look of everything the same, and the contrast is also it's a different look. But this is the look that most people like to photograph on a beanbag. I actually don't photograph on a beanbag, but I get the same look like this without using a beanbag by propping up, using posing pillows and all sorts of things underneath to get the same shape.
We talk about that in detail in the course. So if anybody's interested in that, this is nice. This again is like kind of classic. We've seen this picture 100 times, but the light is beautiful, nice and soft. What's this pose called?
This pose is cool. I call this one on the floor, head up on the floor. What did we call it in the course?
What's it called when you put the hands like that? Isn't that got a special name to it? Didn't we call that something?
No, not the hands.
No,
hug fin was like when it was on the no, I don't know what we called this one.
Okay.
But this is a very nice classic pose. Everybody likes this. The babies do this easily. Once you've wrapped a baby gets very calm and very happy. So
what lens are you using?
It's a very good, classic, easy one. Pardon?
What lens are you using?
I'm using my 17 to 200.
17 to 200? What lens? 70 to 200?
70 to 200.
You have the what? The 2.8?
No. The one that could, the one you used for all your photos, the general one, not the portrait one.
I don't have a 70-200.
So 1 second.
As you can see, Talia's a very technical person.
I am not into gear. I just like pictures and I like babies and I like families. 24 to 105.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I just remember, Talia, do you remember this? People can't really see that. I don't know. Can you see this?
Yes, mine's in the kitchen.
Do you remember when I first got this? Yeah,
you pretended to throw it on the floor.
She didn't. I was standing there because it looked exactly what it was. I just got it, and Talia was there editing, and I'm just holding it in my hand. I'll show you. And I was just talking to her, and I was just going like this, like that, as I was talking to her, and she was sitting there looking at me as I was talking, just pretending that I, like, with her mouth agape. And then I just kind of like went like that, like, oh, like that, and she was like, oh, and I was only joking. Okay. Anyway, this is good. This is triplets, yeah.
Yes, this is triplets.
That's special. That's really. I mean, the picture's nice. The picture's lovely. What really makes it special, obviously, is because triplets are such a unique thing. But that's beautiful. Very symmetrical. And I think the textures of the wraps are so opposite to the textures of the background that it just creates such a vibrant kind of distinction between them. I think it really pops out with that strong triangle as well. It's got that kind of contrast of like relaxed and quiet because of the babies, and then graphically it's very, very intense, which is, I think that works really well. Beautiful shot. Okay, so Talia, I saw this picture and I think it's gorgeous. Just it's not perfectly straight, is it? This back line here just needs to be a little bit straighter.
And then, yes, you're right. This baby's father is a big musician, so I told the mother bring his guitar in his guitar case, and she did, and he was sleeping and he didn't know about it till he saw the pictures because he'd been playing the night before.
That's really special.
It was very special for them because it was, it's such a big part of his life. It's his career.
That's a really good point, Talia, is like making the pictures personal, really trying that's if you could create, I think that would be a really good selling point when you speak to people, especially for newborn, to create some kind of Google form where when they, like the way you do it, Talia, you said you send them pictures of everything, yeah? Of all the different props. You could do it as a Google form and have pictures embedded very easily.
Yeah, last week I had somebody and the mother was a chef, so we did pictures with a chef. And did I send you the Hatzola one? Is that here? And the father was part of Hatzola, so he brought in his whole Hatzola vest, and I stuck it on the floor and I stuffed it and I put the baby in the top. Esther's asked if this is safe. The mother's hand was right next to the baby. Like she was touching the baby. She lifted her hand off for a split second and then she put it back on.
Anyway, if the baby falls off, it's not so far anyway. I'm just joking. But
we don't do that.
You can also stick the child with glue as well. We found that can be really, really effective.
Sarah just asked that, Shmuel, didn't you mention before that the baby's head should be at an angle?
That's a good question. And I think in this case, because we've got so much more going on than just the baby, and the baby's quite far away from us, so we've got these lines, these leading lines taking us in. That was a really good question to ask. In this case, I don't think it's an issue at all, because like I said, we're not just looking at the baby. This is a picture made with the baby as opposed to a picture of the baby. You with me? And
Miri wants to know what the stats are. Could you just tell her, please?
Stats are 160 per second. Why are you not at 200?
What is it? 180?
160.
160. It's sharp now.
Yeah, it's fine. No, it's not a problem. Just okay, fine. F5 at 200 ISO. So I think that's great. What was I going to say? So what I was saying, Talia, is you could make a Google form and you could put in all your different stuff. It could be there. You have to resend it to people, and then they can just choose which things they want. And you can also have in there an upload, like the way that everybody uploaded their pictures to me, is you can create an upload that if they've got any kind of like pictures they've seen or any props or anything they want to use, they can just drag and drop their pictures as well, and that would like cover everything and also make it feel very personal as well. So that's just a quick way around that. I'm a big fan of Google Forms. Fantastic piece of software. Okay, this is nice and cute. It's just, I always like when the feet are up here, you're like, that child's been like crushed upwards.
That's how she was for 9 months. So that's how she's most comfortable.
I hear you. Good. Okay.
This pink thing bothers me at the bottom, hanging out from that one. That annoys me. That annoys me a lot.
The floor isn't really straight. You can see that it's not a real floor, but I suppose that's a slight point. This is quite nice. I think it's a little. For me, it's a little dramatic. Yeah, little much. If I were to shoot like this, I would probably try and make it a little bit more panoramic as well. That even adds a little bit more, a little bit more drama. But the light is it's very dramatic, like you said, very dramatic. That is called gas. That's what that picture's called.
No, I made a really funny joke, and he couldn't. I was just
a Donald Trump joke. The kid just couldn't resist. He's cracking up.
That's what makes this picture. Let's be honest. Anytime you have a baby smiling, doesn't matter what the pose is. It doesn't matter on anything else. The baby smiling, it's a winning shot.
No question. I say that all the time. It always trumps everything. The way the expression trumps everything. Yeah. But when I see a baby smiling like this, all I think is gas. That's the only. I've had enough babies to know that they don't smile like this.
It's very rare they do it with their eyes open. They usually do it with their eyes closed.
That's really 1 in a million. Yeah.
He's under 2 weeks old. This baby. Somebody asked how old he was.
Beautiful.
Most of the babies are under 2 weeks.
That's a stunning picture. It really is gorgeous. Okay. This was nice. This is also something to think about. Is the idea of posing older siblings with babies, which I suppose is a whole kind of discipline in itself. It's a very different. You have to be thinking a little bit out of the box, so to speak, even though you put them in the box in this picture. But I think this was nice. I think the light could have been a little bit lower. I think the shadows under the eye, around the eyes here, could have just been. You could get rid of them in Lightroom in a couple of seconds. I think that's the only thing here for me that could be improved on. Otherwise, lovely, beautiful. Okay, go on, Talia. What about this?
What about this? We've got a nice, strong composition here. Yeah.
This is primarily created in post, or this was Mama's?
No, this was actually a white background.
Yeah.
And I had 2 flashes on the white background. Actually, I think one of my flashes was actually broken.
Oh, but
yeah. Ideally, it's supposed to have 2 flashes on the back.
Pointing towards the background or from behind the background?
Pointing towards the background.
So that's given us also this little splash of light on their cheeks, which I think is quite nice.
Yeah, and then no flash from the front, and there was quite decent amount of space.
Yeah, and I think
somebody's asking about swaddling techniques. Sandy, next week Shmuel's going to be releasing
next month.
And there's a different there's the swaddling techniques on there.
A lot to learn about that, as I found out. Where are we holding, Talia? What's the time? What time is the next?
10:13 Israel time.
What time are we meant to move on to the next thing?
3:05.
Oh wow! So we're 5 minutes on. So we'll just finish quickly here. Just this is a nice use of way of incorporating an older sister as well. Okay, very similar to the other picture. And again, this is with the child all the way over. But again, because there's so much more in the picture than just the child, that again, this isn't an issue because we're not just looking at the child. The next most engaging part of the human body after the face is the hands. So these hands, and they're also dramatically lit as well. So this is a great shot. I love this. Beautiful. Okay. You put the spatula in his ear.
He's holding it with his hands. And this was Hanukkah. This was Hanukkah time. That's why he's frying donuts.
That really is very cute. Beautiful. Wait, this is done in Photoshop?
No. I'm just answering a question. 1 second. No. So the baby's lying on the floor. with a very smooth lycra background. And this piece is it's made for this piece that's to look like a shelf.
So you're actually shooting down on the kid.
Yeah, and then in post, I do take the background and smoothen out the background so that it looks like a wall. Because
how much? Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Straight out of camera, it doesn't look like a wall. It just looks like a piece of material. You know, it's got a few creases.
How much do you do these like fancy Photoshop? Like, because there's a lot of you can buy packs where you like, you know, where it creates this mystical little thing and the kid is like hanging from a string in the sky and all that kind of stuff. How much do you do that?
It's on my walls, so whenever it's requested, I do it. I actually do it in I take 3 different photos and then I Photoshop it together.
So you do regularly do like these kind of like mystical kind of like magical kind of Photoshop things, or not so much?
When people ask for it, I mean, I do have that one of him hanging. I have one on the wall of a baby hanging from a stick with a cloth. And it's a cute picture, so when people see it and they love it, they ask for it. So I do that.
Okay, this is beautiful classic newborn photography, beautiful light, very soft, lovely composition, very relaxing and magical. Again, you've softened it a little bit. Yeah, you dropped the texture down. You do most of your editing in Lightroom and Photoshop.
I do the initial editing in Lightroom, cropping, brightening, stuff like that. But then softening I do in Photoshop.
You mean skin softening, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much better Photoshop, much better. Okay, that's lovely. That's really nice. These are fake flowers, yeah?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, again, beautiful light. Everyone can see, very important, is the light should always be a little bit higher than eye level. This is one of the first things we learn in our flash course, is that the first mistake everyone always makes is that the light is not at eye level. It's at eye level or below, and then you end up with a shadow here, and it doesn't look anywhere near as natural and as comfortable as when the light's a little bit higher up. The reason is because we're always looking at faces with light coming from above. If you think about it, whenever you're out and about, there's the sun, and then whenever you're indoors, lights are always from above. So that's how a face looks normally, is with the light coming from above. Okay, and finally, again, another classic picture, beautiful. You use this rug a lot, yeah?
Yeah, it's popular, this one.
Yeah, beautiful. And again, how long does it take you to wrap a kid like this?
Never timed it. 30 seconds.
Oh, really? Yeah, very quick, yeah. Wow, wait, okay, Talia, beautiful. Thank you. So look, like I said, everybody, we're gonna release this really special newborn class next month. Please go to our next webinar, so don't miss that. We'll probably send out a heads up before that, like maybe a sneak preview before the webinar, just to get you guys in the mood. But beautiful, Talia, it's amazing to see how good you've become. Really, beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's do a couple of Q&As, and then we'll finish off with the critiquing. 1 second. So here we go. Okay. So I'm just going to answer questions for about 5 minutes, and then we'll go into the rest of the end of the critiquing. Okay. Do you prepare a list of poses for a photo shoot? If you do you bring it with you and keep referencing it? And how would you create this list? So when people ask me for a list, I always say, don't do it. It's not a good idea. The reason is because it breaks the momentum and the natural flow of the pictures, as opposed to, okay, mum and Daniel come in, squeeze in, beautiful, okay, dad come in, as opposed to, okay, one second, mum and Daniel, okay, one second, okay, dad and Daniel, and then you go through things. So what I do recommend to people is, if you've got some kind of especially an event or something, some kind of weird combination that I'm not going to know about, just write down a little piece of paper, keep to yourself, just to remind you that, Auntie Barbara came in from America and et cetera, and just to remind you of that. Otherwise, try and avoid having having people create a list. I find it's a real real like energy killer. Okay, I'm having a very difficult time with my aperture and shutter speed. The lowest my aperture goes 4.5. That's with your lens. And my pictures are not getting the sharp, blurred look unless I shoot super close. Full body photography is a struggle. I can't control shutter speed when I'm in under aperture, or aperture when I'm under shutter speed. The point of why I left this in is for this next part. My pictures are getting blurred because when I'm controlling the light settings, I can't control blur motion under shutter speed. How can I fix this? So you have to remember that you're bound by physics. Okay, photography is bound by physics. If you don't have a lot of light, you can't use a quick shutter speed. So you do want to be using a wide aperture, and that will give you the quickest shutter speed. But if you don't have the correct amount of light, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to use quick shutter speed, and then you're going to end up getting blurry pictures. Okay.
Dina's asking if you do one-on-one editing techniques.
Do I do one-on-one editing techniques? What does that? I'm not sure what that means.
I think that means to edit with someone one-on-one for their pictures.
No.
Sit down with one person and.
No, but you can buy the Lightroom, the meditations in Lightroom class, which is basically me going through like 50 odd edits, and it makes all the difference. We got amazing feedback from that class. Also, does the camera model lens make a difference in how low your aperture can go? Not your camera, but the lens 100%. What's the best way to pull myself away from the camera? Just kidding. I don't know. My question is, how do I get myself back to the camera? I've been doing it for so long. What's the most important thing to keep in mind when doing a photo shoot? Go on, Talia. What would you say about
that? What's the most important thing to keep in mind? Wow, that's a massive question.
Yeah, not really. What's the most important thing?
That you're shooting for your clients, and you want to shoot what they want. That you're shooting for them, not for.
That's a true professional. That's a professional photographer speaking. Your client's needs first thing in your mind. 100%. Excellent. Okay, if you're shooting a very sunny area, then you won't be able to see your screen. How then you do if the pictures have the correct exposure? So what will eventually happen is you will get used to being able to see your screen even in bright sunlight. Even if you can't see it properly, you'll know that how it looks like that is correct, and you'll get used to it. It's very important to remember that when you're shooting in bright sunlight, because your eyes, the aperture in your eyes contract, the screen on the back appears to be darker than it actually is. So in bright sunlight, photographers have a tendency to overexpose, and in darker areas, photographers have a tendency to underexpose because your eye dilates and the picture on the back appears to be a little bit brighter than it actually is. So watch out for that. Are there any pictures after a photo shoot that you don't fix in post-production, or they all go into post? Everything goes into post, but there are pictures that don't need. It's rare that you're not going to do a little crop or a little vignette or a little brighten or darken or something, but it happens, especially when you use flash. Flash can cause can help you with that. What's happening when on the camera you are raising the exposure compensation? Is that raising the ISO for you or something else? When you change your exposure compensation, it depends if you're an AV or TV, and then it will. If you're an AV and the camera has access to your shutter speed, then it will change your shutter speed. If you're in TV, it will change your aperture. Okay. If you want to build the background in post, what can you do? I'm finding that just dropping the clarity seems to make it look weird at times. Any tips? I agree with you 100%. I don't like doing that. The best thing to do is in Photoshop. What do you do in Photoshop, Talia? What's the name of that thing? Of the filter to blur, to make the picture look blurry.
The Gaussian blur or the motion?
Yeah, Gaussian blur is a good one. There's another one that's escaping me right now, but Gaussian blur.
Motion blur?
No, Gaussian blur. There's another one. I've forgotten what it's called. But Gaussian blur is very good, and that gives you a more kind of natural feel than using the clarity in Lightroom. I agree with you 100% about that. One second, just delete these so I won't say these again next week, next month. Okay, so let's finish it off by getting through the getting through the rest of the student images. Where do we get to? We got to this one, so we got to here. Okay, Talia, with me?
Yeah.
We're going to go a little quicker now, so let's do this. So the light here is okay. It looks like you've brought back quite a lot of energy. Who's this? Mendy Grossman. You've brought the sky looks weird. I'm not into that at all. It looks very very artificial. But it's a cute moment with all this texture in the foreground. It's cropped in nicely.
Isn't the sky better like this than if it was white?
I'm not sure. Maybe, but I think it'd be better somewhere in the middle. I think this is a little too much, and white would also be a little not enough. But as it is, I think that's a little bit overwhelming, a little bit distracting. Stats are excellent though, perfect stats. So well done. That's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Well done, Yehuda. Beautiful location. Gorgeous. Be careful the knee. Pull that dress over a little bit more. Beautiful pose. I think I would probably crop maybe a little bit more.
It's not on the third and it's not in the center.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward. The composition's a drop awkward. But you could, yeah, I think maybe it'd be better to put it in the center, to be honest. This to have this have more room over here. But the actual the stats are good, not perfect. You could be at 1.8, but you've nailed the focus. Beautiful, but really a good location, gorgeous location, gorgeous little girl. Well done. Okay, we are dramatically underexposed here. Chesky, you are using a super sophisticated camera, 5D Mark IV, but it's clear that you're not clear on what these stats are. I really recommend you joining our masterclass. I think it will do you a lot of good because I can see that you're thinking good, but technically there's a lot of issues here. Okay. This is nice. Who's this? Yechiel. This overexposed area here is definitely not doing us any favors. It's quite distracting. I think we can crop in a little bit as well. And this will improve the picture quite a lot because as we make our subject bigger, we take our eyes more away from this horrible overexposed area. So this is that in my opinion is a big improvement. Otherwise, you're 3.5. I don't know what lens you're using, but yeah, at 200. This is an important point. At 200th of a second. Oh yeah, you just missed the you just missed the focus. It is sharp.
Somebody's asking what's radial filter.
Radial filter, maybe that's the one. Yeah, radial filter. That also gives you a good blur. You have to play around with it. To explain it, you need to understand all kinds of funky things. But that's the one I was thinking of, other than Gaussian. Okay, this is quite nice. Miri, these. I'm not sure if having these few splashes of red are actually a little bit distracting. To have a few more red splodges over here would be nice. Otherwise, it might just be nice to have just had the greens. Unless a little bit more red would otherwise the frame becomes a little distracting. Also a little bit blue as well, so to warm that up would probably be a good idea. But nice pose and good composition, well done, good background. Stats are okay. Again, I would be at 200 ISO, so you can have a 500th of a second. Okay, that's nice, although it would be better if they were moving in this direction a little bit. We've got some people over here, but it's blurry enough that it's not a big deal. You could be at 1.8, which would be fine, but a decent composition. I would also get down a little bit lower and minimize this path and maximize this blossom and this beautiful, all this beautiful color and texture over here. Okay. So
somebody said, what's wrong with 100 ISO?
Well, there's nothing wrong with 100 ISO. But there was this picture we were talking about. But there's 100 ISO is fine, but a 250th of a second is good. But when there's no difference between 100 and 200 ISO, then you could be at 500th of a second, and then you're really out the forest in regards to your shutter speed. There's like, you 250, you can still end up with a camera shake, whereas a 500th of a second is really you're really out of the danger zone at 100%. Okay, this is nice. I think this could be really pushed further in Lightroom. I would de-emphasize all of this, and I would emphasize her. As it is, the picture is a little bit distracting because we've got this beautiful little girl. We've got all these very heavy graphics that are, when I say heavy, means sharp, that they're pulling our eye, so we're not really sure what we're looking at. It's a little bit confused. So in post, I would put down all of this stuff, and I would emphasize her a little bit more. And I think that would make a difference.
It bothers me a lot that the glasses are cutting through her eyes.
I agree with you 100%.
And I'd love to see her looking at me, and I'd love to pull her forward away from the flowers.
Yeah, I agree. I think also maybe we should crop in a little bit like this. I like her looking off. I love the way the light is formed on the side of her face. I think it's a very nice, clean.
If she pushed the glasses up, it could help, because then you could see her eyes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, this is by Esty. Esty, get over the massive
logo.
Yeah, no one cares. Really, no one cares. If you want to put your watermark on your picture, do it as a little thing in the corner. Otherwise, it just becomes distracting, in my opinion. I mean, the picture's nice. I like all these. It's a nice way that you've incorporated all the, I'm assuming, brothers and sisters. I would probably get him to take the watch off over there. I think that's quite distracting. But otherwise, lovely textures. The green here is great, contrasted with the textures of the white over here. So well done. Nice shot. Stats are fine. I think 1.8 will also be okay. Okay, that's good. Who's that? Devoyee. Okay, yeah, lovely energy there. Lovely. I love the composition. Real kind of energized picture. In regards to the messy light, I think in this case it actually adds something. I think when we've got such a kind of cheeky, gritty, kind of raw picture, to have not perfect light, I think adds something. So well done. Stats are perfect. Okay, good. This is great to contrast these two pictures. Is great. Same kind of pose, but just a completely different edit. Okay, this is nice. Stats, you could be at 1.8. Who's this? Hindi. Nice focus. Again, a 2/50th of a second. If you were at a wider aperture, you could get yourself a quicker shutter speed. So that would be a win-win on both accounts. Okay, but otherwise, nicely done. Nice, clean, symmetrical picture. Well done. Okay, a bit of a snap.
A bit too close.
Yeah, too close, and it's too. You're too zoomed out, which means we've got kind of like a bow distortion. So it's a very kind of like. It doesn't really suit the dynamic of the graphics of the image. Doesn't suit the subject. This is Peril. This is quite nice. Again, the 2/50th of a second. I think you have been stung. No, you haven't. You held it okay. You just missed the focus slightly, but the balance of the picture is beautiful. The light's quite nice. It's got a kind of ugly. Ready tinge to it that I think needs to be removed, but otherwise well done. Okay, this is cute. This hand being chopped off is a problem. Okay, our eye comes around here, so our eye bangs into the edge over there, so you could crop off a little bit at the top. The truth is, by cropping off a little bit at the top, relatively adds a little bit at the bottom, which might make a difference, which I think it does, but still this hand would probably be better if it was resting on her leg. Yes, but you can't really control it with this age kid. It's a bit hard to do that. Well, you'll be. I think when you actually take her hand and put it on her leg and like kind of put it down, I find that you've got more. Depends how hard she tried to get her to actually look and smile at the camera. Yeah, no, you're right, 100%. Okay. This is cute. It's messy. It's very like what's the word? Very organic, very natural. But it's a little bit kind of messy. You're in close. You're zoomed out all the way. Which for this kind of picture, I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be concentrating on a cleaner, more sophisticated pose personally. Okay, but nice exposure and good expression. So well done. Okay, that's nice. That's a great location. Again, go to 200 ISO and be at a 3/20th of a second. You have Yeah, you got stung by your shutter speed here. See, at 160 of a second, you did not hold the camera dead still, and as a result, this picture has been ruined basically. So that would make all the difference. A wider aperture or a higher ISO would allow you to use a quicker shutter speed. But beautiful.
It's a bit too dark for me as well. I'd like to see a bit brighter.
Yeah, agreed. But also, I think I would probably drop the texture down and make it feel a little more dreamy as well. Okay, this is. I mean, the kids are beautiful. The light's beautiful on their face. But Razor, I would just say to you, why on earth would you sit them on this ugly tarmac? Get them on the grass or something beautiful. It's just so ugly. Remember, when you include ugly graphics in your picture gets ugly. When you include bland graphics in your picture gets bland, etc., etc. So be very, very tight with that. Otherwise, the actual picture is beautiful. The subject is beautiful. That shadow there is a little bit annoying as well. But in my opinion, the real problem here is just this ugly tarmac. Okay, this picture. Who's that? Daily Inspiration. So I think it's a little bit kind of raw for the subject. It's a little bit kind of gritty in my opinion, and a little dark. I appreciate the energy, so well done. Okay, that's nice. That's a nice shot. Talia, what do you think?
Gorgeous. I love that.
Yeah, and you've done really well, Naomi. I love your logo. That's really nice. And you've got them down really low, which means you've minimized the ugly path and you've squeezed out the beautiful triangle from it. Plus, you've
got more trees, more blossoms.
And you cashed it on the blossoms. That's really well done. That's really beautiful. That's a really good picture. Really well done. Gorgeous.
Where is this? It looks like it's in England. Somebody asked it where it is.
Naomi, it's definitely not in Israel.
It's not in Israel. It looks like England to me. Yeah. I've never been to America.
Yeah.
The Lake Pine Park. Was that from Shoshana, that picture? No?
Who is this
Shoshana says it's the Lake Pine Park.
Where is that?
It's one of the good places in Lakewood other than OCP.
Okay, good.
Gateshead.
This is definitely America, no? Or is it maybe
it looks yeah, it's not England and it's not Israel.
It's not England, but it could, I was just thinking it could be maybe Europe, but it looks kind of American.
Yeah, it could be maybe.
Be careful, legs. Keep the legs clean, and just one thing I want to say is just be super careful with the straightness of the picture. When you've got a picture with so many straight lines, be super careful on the straightness. I would also crop in. I don't think we need all of this. I don't think we need so much here.
Oh, this is Antwerp. You were right. It's Europe.
Yeah, it's Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well done. Onward. Needs a little bit more energy.
A tiny bit brighter.
Yeah, it needs more contrast.
Good edit, but tiny bit brighter.
To cut the feet off like that is not a good idea. You can cut the legs off like that, and then the dresses will keep our eye in. Or
people want to know if you're going to be going through the pictures that were sent in today.
These are the pictures that were sent in today.
Oh, yes. So yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay. Shayna, this is gorgeous. This is a great picture. Well done. That's really you're in close. That's really intense, and like we're really connected to this to the subject here. You've nailed the focus. Beautiful exposure. Really dynamic, engaging, and energized picture. Well done, Shayna. That's beautiful. Excellent. Okay, and that's great. Who's this? Hanny. This is really good. You've obviously, this is a
before and after.
Yeah, this is before. I didn't even notice that. Oh, I see now. Yeah. So that's a nice Photoshop job. Well done. The light here. Be careful. Your flash getting covered by your props and causing bad light on his face, but otherwise nice shot.
Who was asking about newborns outdoors? So here it is. See, it can be done. Fully dressed with a prop. It can be done. It's not so simple, but it can be done.
Yeah, I still don't think this is the picture that I was talking about, Talia, where you see the head is all the way to the side and there's not really much else to look at, so it's a little bit awkward. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Sandy. This is nice. It's nice and intimate, nice and close. I don't think the hands being cropped off are doing us any favors. Probably cropping a little bit like this. Okay, but well done. That's nice. Stats are okay. Again, like I said, 200 ISO at 3/20th of a second would be a much safer stat. That's nice, but unfortunately, it's overexposed. But that really is a nice composition. I love the greens over here, but the overexposure has the reds over here and the greens down here, and the textures as well. But the overexposure is I don't think that's even savable. That's definitely annoying. But otherwise, well done, Shiffy. Okay, this is nice. I think that we've compromised our subject by having her face backed by the green, by the pink here. If you had gotten down a little bit lower and had the pink, say, like over here, and then her face being bordered by more the greens, then I don't think we would be compromising her face. As it is, I think our eyes getting distracted a little bit between her face and the pinks of the flowers over there. So that compromises our subject a little bit. Okay. Face needs to be brightened up, and just make sure this part just doesn't need to be there. You could be anywhere here. The light coming from behind is very nice. We've got lovely light in his face, but just be very careful. Who's this? Esty. Be careful about stuff like this with the paths in the background. Just no need. You could just put him somewhere where that path isn't, and you would have saved that. Otherwise, brighten his face, nice light. Pose is cute, I think. What do you think,
Yeah,
Talia?
yeah, I love the pose. Just the lighting's not fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Rifki, compositionally a little bit loose. Her hand getting cropped off here, I think, is working so well. I think this graphic is great. I love this, but I would really cash in on that.
Get rid of the top part of the picture.
Exactly, make it a feature, more something like that.
Yeah, much better.
Cash in on this powerful graphic. I think that's nicely done. Nice light on her face, so well done. Okay. This is cute. The lights are okay. We've got a good blur in the background. You're at 2.8. You could definitely be at 1.8. And the benefit of being at 1.8 would not just be the blur in the background. It would be the slightly quicker shutter speed, which would make just make the picture a little bit more. What's the word? A little bit more. A little safer. Okay, but otherwise that's a good, cute, professional picture. So well done, Tammy. Okay, that's nice. Batia, I'll tell you though, again, we're compromising the subject. Remember, when you have a feature in the background and it's overlapping a key part of your subject, you compromise your subject. So if the kid was over here and the balloons were somewhere over here or something, or somewhere separate, it would make all the difference. As it is, we've compromised the subject. We have a lovely, strong composition. We've got lovely light as well, which is well done. So
it's a bit too many colors for me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Also,
I don't think that prop's really a great photography prop. Like without that, would have been the colors would all work great together.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I hear that. Okay, a little bit overexposed, but a lovely balance. Devoyee. A lovely energy moving over here. Perfect amount of space over here. Nothing distracting in the background. Lovely greens. Lovely depth. Nice shot. Well done. Stats good, but again, you could be at 1.8. Light on her face is not very good.
Green. She looks green.
Yeah, you could remove some of the green there. But the light on her hair is beautiful. It's a small picture, so we can't really see it. The stats are fine. The stats are perfect. But the truth is that when you're very close up like this, it's sometimes good to not shoot at 1.8 because not always are the eyes the same distance. You can end up with one blurry eye. So I think probably this I would be shooting maybe at 2.2 or 2.5 to just make sure that the eyes are pin sharp. Okay. Using flash on camera, sorry, which is never a good idea. We can see that from this shadow over here, and then the shadow on his eyes, and then the light just becomes very flat. Also, again, like we said about ugly graphics, this is definitely an ugly graphic. So remember, ugly graphics create ugly pictures. So be careful of that. Gorgeous little boy though. So that was nice. Unfortunately, we don't have a sharp picture here. We can see the focus is forward. That makes a big difference. But otherwise, that's nice, Shira. But yeah, definitely make sure that you nail the focus. Very important.
People are asking what shutter speed you suggest for outdoor photography.
Look, the way I say it is a 60th of a second is a mistake. A 200th of a second is the beginning of being out of the forest. The forest being danger of having the camera shake. A 500th of a second, you're out the forest. So that's how I say it. Obviously, you're bound by how much light, but you don't want to be shooting under a 200th of a second. What do you shoot? What do you try and get to, Talia?
When I'm outdoors, I'll go as high as I need to. I'm focusing on my aperture, whatever it needs to be. However,
but I'm saying, what's your lowest shutter speed that you go to? What do you try?
Outdoors are 1/160.
You go, okay. So
unless it's nighttime and I'm shooting with flash, then I would go.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, sure. Okay, this is really special. The lighting's a little bit, the coloring's a little bit funny, but I think in sepia, this picture would be absolutely gorgeous. Stats are good, but you could be at 400 ISO and a 400th of a second. But lovely energy. It's beautifully balanced. It's a beautiful subject. Be careful, hairs coming through subject's eyes. A lot of pictures have been destroyed because of that, but very beautiful. Okay, again, remember about ugly graphics, creating ugly pictures. Pardon me. So that is an ugly graphic. So that really does distract. Beautiful little girl. And that line in the middle really, in my opinion, just smashes the picture.
If it was in the background, I don't think it would be so bad. It's because it's like coming through the whole picture. Yeah.
Anytime we have a line that literally goes from one edge of the picture to the other, we've got a dangerous situation. However, if she put her hand over here and the other hand underneath, and we somehow created a break in this line, that would make all the difference. Okay, this is nice. I would rather him be turned a little bit in this way to have him moving into space. But again, remember, this is also considered an ugly background, and the ugly graphics create ugly pictures. Very important. Okay. Leia, it's interesting. You're zoomed out. It's a very irregular kind of studio picture. I would definitely crop in a little bit. I quite like it though. I quite like the originality of it. Very rarely do you use a wide angle when you're in the studio like this, but I think the energy really brings you in. I think there's a lot of I agree. I think there's a lot of nice dynamic feel to that picture. So well done. Okay, Leia, this is cute. I think if you cropped here and gave it energy moving here, some more space over here, that would work.
Or, I want her to look at me. I want to see her face.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a little bit like the composition is a little bit awkward, and plus, I think, like Talia said, to have her looking straight into the camera would give us a lot. These stats are really, really whacked out, though, Leia. These are really whacked out stats. You need to. I don't know if you've done a course. I think you have, but you need to go back through the classes because these need to be worked out. Okay. That's nice. Just one little quick fix is Daddy over here. If he just turns his shoulder in a little bit, he will stop being so flat. That will save the static feel. Like Mum, the way she's turned, she's just slightly turned in. That would make all the difference if Daddy was slightly turned in. And then make sure they're framed perfectly in the doorway. As it is, they're a little bit too far over this way. But otherwise, well done.
Somebody said, "Is this not over softened?"
No, I don't think so. Not at all.
She was talking about the picture before. I'm not sure.
The picture before. Yeah, this is the idea of dropping the clarity too much. I think this is the feeling that it gives you. Okay, onward. Not so keen on that. I mean, it's a good gaze, but really.
Small Diamond would take this picture with the flash off camera coming all the way from the far left, a bit further around that way.
And the light was.
And then you would have got a very dramatic, intense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Talia. So the actual picture is beautiful, but if it was lit properly, it would be awesome. Okay. Yeah. Good. So this is
I love that.
It's a lovely picture. That this is, I think, again, the fact that she's so small, I think is okay that her head is completely flat. Do you see what I'm saying? Because again, you're looking at the whole thing. So if we were I'll show you. If we were cropped in much closer, you'll see what I mean, Talia. If we were cropped in much closer, do you see how that's awkward?
Yeah.
Because you're looking at her face and it's awkward, but the fact that we're cropped out, I think that's fine. Who's this by?
I also like that it shows how small she is. It emphasizes that she's small in the world.
Yeah, it's really, I agree, and I think the background as well really sets it off. That's beautiful. Well done, gorgeous picture.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Okay, so I would crop in over here. We don't need this side because we don't have energy moving over that way. So I'd crop in like that. Again, like we said, if you're going to leave the feet, leave the feet in. The truth is, the way I see it is this line actually prevents your eyes from going down there. So it's not such a big deal, the fact you cropped his feet off, but I'll probably crop in maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Talia, we can hear you unwrapping something.
I'm sorry, I'm wrapping up these biscuits.
Okay, covering like that. And that line is really stopping our eye from banging down there, so that works out nicely. Otherwise, nice light. You've done well with the focus. We can't see the stats, but otherwise, well done. Okay, good. We're getting there. We're nearly done, ladies and gentlemen. I would crop in a little bit over here, and I would probably make this a sepia print.
I'd love a bit more space. I mean, I know you can't do that, but a bit more space.
I hear you. I think I would go with it, cropping a little closer, but I think if we added a sepia tint, that would make this picture feel that little bit more, what would be
goes
warm.
with the style of the hat.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay. This picture, we haven't got the details here.
Okay, first of all, the hand's cropped off at the bottom.
Yeah.
Second of all, the other hand's going off to his foot is too distracting. You really want his hand coming down towards the baby.
This kid.
Yes.
Yeah, the baby's too close to the bottom.
Yeah, you want the head the other way around of the baby. And the guy he's strangling his brother there. He's like, look in the camera, I'm gonna strangle you.
Maybe it'd be better if we cropped in like this.
Yeah.
Something like, I don't think we need to change the baby around, but I think it'd be better if we somehow either lifted the baby up or brought the two kids' heads down. There's a little bit too much different distance between the two kids, the two big kids and the baby.
If the head was where the feet was, then there wouldn't be.
What do you mean? If the head was here?
If the baby was sitting the other way around with his head towards the I like to try and keep the baby's head towards the middle of the picture when I'm photographing with the super siblings.
Oh, I hear that. I didn't really think about that one, so let me get rid of that. Okay.
And the watch. Get rid of the watch.
That also, yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's lovely. That's the eyes have been done really nicely. That's really engaging. You've used the space of the frame very well, so that's nicely done. Excellent. Can't see the stats, but a lovely, powerful image. Really see the soul of this little girl. That's beautiful. I've seen this little kid many times. So Rivka, that's a really beautiful location here. We've got lovely light coming through in the background. A good pose. We can't see the stats. It looks like you've done well with the focus, but a beautiful composition, lovely, intelligent, sophisticated vignette. Well done. Stunning. Onward. Oh, that's beautiful.
Bit dark.
Right. A little dark. Yeah, we could brighten that up a drop. But I think I'd probably crop in a little bit like this. The light on her is very nice. We've got the energy coming in from the bench gives us this powerful dynamic feel. Oh, I keep doing that. 1 second. Good sharp image. Stats are excellent. Stats are perfect. Well done. Okay, that's cute. That's a nice shot. A little bit. It'd be nice if the background was a little bit blurrier. But it's a cute pose. Focus is okay. Well done. Okay. Be careful. These kinds of things in the background, these bars, really do ruin the picture. I would never dream of taking a picture with these kinds of bars in the background. Don't you agree, Talia?
Yeah, it's too dark and too harsh.
Yeah, just really distracting. Definitely. I do. The background's gorgeous, but unfortunately, that for me is a complete picture.
Ruining it.
Yeah.
If it was standing up, leaning on it, then you could have skipped that.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, stats as well. A 1/25th of a second, 1/125th of a second at f5 is not such a good idea. Okay. Onward. This is cute. That's a nice shot, Yocheved.
I love twins.
Yeah, you've done well. We don't see the stats here, but you've done well getting a sharp picture. You filled the frame beautifully. We've got nice expressions, and this is really where we see a relationship. We've got the hand over here, we've got one kid behind, one kid in front, but we've got a connection between them as well. So I think that's a beautiful picture. Well done, gorgeous, especially really tightly cropped. It's very intimate, very special. Okay, that's good. That's a really good edit. Who's this? Frady. That's a really good edit. I think it could be a little bit brighter, like the background. You could open up the shadows a little bit. But the point is that this kind of picture needs a powerful edit, a contrasty, powerful edit, and you've done exactly that. So well done. Okay.
Frady says, don't read the stats.
Yeah, okay. Not so bad though. Okay. Okay, everybody, well done. Wow. Whew. Talia, thank you. 1 second, let's just put you, let's get you back over here. Thank you, Talia.
Pleasure.
We'll see you next week, next month as well. Maybe when we, I don't think you'll host with us, but you'll pop in for a little bit if you don't mind, just so we'll preview the newborn course that we're going to sell next week, please God. But anyway, thank you very much. Really appreciate that, and always a pleasure spending time with you. Regards to David, please.
Well, though F. Stern has been mentioning quite a few times she would like you to edit her picture, and I think it's in your email. And she's said quite a few times already, and she's just asked again if you could please check from your email and critique her picture. I
don't see. Oh, F. Stern. Okay, well, I'm probably it's not going to happen. Next time. Thank you, everybody. As always.
Who's your sister, Hannah? Hannah, who's your sister? My name was Gatoff. Talia Kanter.
I love it.
From Manchester. There's all the questions coming in there.
Okay. We will see you, please God, in a month. We're going to don't forget that we have the courses on offer. And I know that most of you are already in the class, but we ask if you please shoot out this email to friends and family. Because we really do need to bring in more students. So we'd really appreciate you jumping in, helping us do that. Otherwise, wishing you all the best. Thank you again, Talia. Thank you, Rivka, for being in the background as always. You're always amazing. And we'll see you guys.
Someone's saying the codes don't work, Shmuel.
Oh no, you're right. I didn't change the codes. Okay, I'm going to change the codes right now. They will work very soon. Okay.
Try again in a few minutes, everyone.
Yeah, try again in a few minutes. I'll fix that right now. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, guys, all the best.
Bye, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Bye.